System you're talking about is going to pull out into the Intermountain West as we get into the weekend. Here's a look at Sunday. There you see our upper level disturbance meeting up with some strong winds at the surface as well. And we are looking at the potential for some severe weather once this gets going. So taking a look at it. It pushes to the east on your Sunday. Some areas of strong storms are possible with this particular setup, and most of those are going to be what we call the red zone here. This is a moderate risk area from the National Weather Service. We've got Kansas City down to Oklahoma City, Des Moines, Minneapolis. We're including you as well. A slight risk of some hail, some damaging winds. Can't rule out tornadoes with this as well. In fact, on our Torcon index, we do have a 3 here for central and eastern Iowa. Also, we have a 3 on our Torcon for central Oklahoma, parts of Kansas and northwestern Missouri. So about a 30% chance of a tornado. But again, damaging winds, straight line winds can cause tremendous damage. So we want to not overstate that enough, that just because we don't have a high tornado threat does not mean we won't see some rough weather here. Minneapolis, for you, the storms will likely get going in the afternoon on Sunday, continuing on in through Sunday night. And then by Monday, you're switching all over to rain. Again, as we push on now into Sunday night, that threat's going to shift into Kansas City, portions of Iowa. And then here's a look at Monday, right on the border of St. Louis. Chicago could get a few strong storms all the way up to Detroit. So Chris, another week of possible severe weather ahead. Freeze up here along the Appalachians, stretching from Virginia down into portions of North Carolina. Wind advisories for most of North Carolina here, much of Virginia, even a little bit here of South Carolina as well, as we still have those blustery conditions on the backside of our low pressure system that caused all of that severe weather this week and the snow around the Great Lakes. So we've got that low pressure. It is moving off. It's going to be weakening, pulling up into Canada as we get throughout the day today. So those winds are going to be dying down, but still expect those gusty northwesterly winds at least for the next several hours. If we take a look here in time, you can see even around 6 o'clock this evening, we're still gusting up in the 20s here in Jacksonville. Atlanta, you're gusting at 25 to 30, and even back in Memphis, 10 to 15. So you can just kind of gives you an idea of how powerful this system was, considering that it has moved out a good distance from this area now. Taking into this evening, we finally start to see things die down a bit. For you in Atlanta, still gusting up around 20-25, but those winds are sustained at 10 to 15. Light winds elsewhere from Columbia down to Jackson and to Tampa. So conditions certainly improving as we get past this Friday afternoon. For Raleigh, North Carolina, taking a look at your winds right now, 58 degrees and pretty windy out there. As we get into the later hours after around dinner time, we'll start to see those winds die off pretty quickly. So again, another few hours of it and then it's over. Chris, now to live. And you can see here, Ohio, yeah, it's pretty much over for you. Some lingering snow showers here right along the border, but certainly as we get into West Virginia, portions of western PA up into upstate New York, Buffalo, still getting a little bit of snow showing up on the radar for you, even at this hour. So Cleveland, yeah, picked up about 6 inches, I believe, in some areas south of the city. Pretty crazy stuff. As we look at future radar here, here's a look at 6:30. You'll notice just a few pockets of snow here in New York, but as we get up into Vermont, low pressure system pulls away, and as it does so, bringing that snow with it. So when we get into the overnight hours, we'll see that not much of it is left here. Again, just maybe some of the higher elevations in places like Vermont, New Hampshire getting some snow here, but overall it's not going to be a problem for you tomorrow or over the weekend. In fact, conditions are going to warm up and it's finally going to start feeling a little bit more like spring for so many of you who have been dealing with winter here for the past couple of days at least. Chris, over to you. We have 0 tornado moved through Washington, D.C. yesterday. It's been a busy year for severe weather and tornadoes. Meteorologist Alex Wallace and storm specialist Dr. Greg Postel take a look at the 2017 tornado tally so far. That's for sure, but we do have another severe weather threat to talk about. That same system Chris was just telling Sunday, here it is out in the northern plains. This upper disturbance meeting up with some strong jet stream level winds, setting up potentially some severe weather here across the midsection of the country. So we'll take a closer look at Sunday. Some of that moisture gets pulled northward here, and we will see some areas of storms right along this, very likely developing as we get into Sunday in the afternoon and evening hours. Some of the spotty damaging winds and hail could be a real issue in places like Minneapolis, Des Moines, down through Kansas City, even all the way back into Oklahoma City can't rule out the potential for some damaging storms as things get going a little bit. For that reason, we've issued a 3 for central and eastern Iowa, also a 3 here on the Torcon for central Oklahoma, southeast Kansas, and north within a 50-mile radius. So the tornado threat not real high, but certainly we could see severe weather out of this system. For you in Minneapolis, as I mentioned, likely going to be starting in the afternoon hours with a couple of strong storms continuing into the evening, and then by Monday to start the work week, it will be all rain for you.